Pickle Rick onesie instead, but this was like worse somehow. This is like the most tackiest like Christmas jumper I could find, and obviously it won't fit me because of like sizing issues. But like, just look at it; it just looks so wrong on me, and I feel like that's kind of the point, right? For Christmas jumpers. I'll probably take this off afterwards. It's fucking choking me as well.
We'll keep it on for at least 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Oh wait, is Pat coming?
He should be. I thought he'd be here.
Remember, he said he might or might not because of work. I said, could you come on?
Well, he's probably the most busiest out of all of us.
Yeah.
This weekend.
I had asked if he could come on quickly at some point just to say his point, and then he could go off again, unless he's already asleep, kind of thing.
He might be asleep.
I wanted to I was wearing my T-shirt that he got me.
Of course, I'm right.
I do like that. Oh, that reminds me. I actually have all of your presents.
Nice.
I just don't know when to. I mean, we're gonna see each other Friday, I guess. I can give you the presents then, I guess. They're quite.
So we are doing the 28th for definite.
Maybe.
Okay.
Sweet. Cool. Nice.
I can do it as long as it's the evening.
Yeah, pretty much the same, right? It's gonna be late for me, anyways.
Yeah.
All right, but in any case, I've got the presents. Rob knows what they are. You'll see them eventually.
Nice.
Like you eventually saw this.
That is the worst jump I've ever seen.
I know there was like another one which was like a onesie, which was just like
a lucky jump.
Eggplant emojis, just plastered. And I was like, that could have been worse. But no, I was like, oh no. Then I saw the Pickle Rick one. And I was like, oh, that's worse than the eggplant one. Then I saw this one. And I was like, oh, this is perfect because it's the wrong size. It's just like it's so orange and garish for Christmas colors. I was like, perfect, absolutely perfect. This is one of the worst Christmas jumpers I could ever find.
Gosh.
I haven't managed to find a Christmas jumper I like enough yet, because I just haven't yet, and I didn't bring up my onesie. I didn't bring up my onesie either, so I just have like plaid Christmas pajamas that my mom gave me.
Nice. But I mean, I would like to say I don't like this. I just bought it because it's the most grossest one I could find at this point of time. If I find something worse than this, I'll probably wear that. Like, I don't know. But again, we'll see. This was very short notice. But I think for short notice being really gross and tacky, I think it suits. All right. I feel like I am dying in this.
Maybe it's because it's 3 sizes too small for you.
Oh yes, that, and also because I'm actually dying and I'm just like inhaling vapor rub. I'm gonna start drinking it in a second. I'm just ill. I'm somewhat ill. I'm just like feeling groggy.
I agree, you're ill.
If it helps you feel any better, I'm at a similar state or worse. I'm still really not well. I've been off work for...
Same. So, as we've started...
This is fucking cheery.
Why did you choose this film, Alec?
The Wonderful Life, you know?
Fucking masterpiece.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's a fucking masterpiece. I don't care. Don't at me. Yeah, I remember we had a film studies lesson on it about like how it's just crafted to sort of like make you feel certain ways about certain people, and it's like a really good example of like characterization and stuff. And yeah, it's quite a long film, but like I don't know, these are for a Christmas film as well. Like it's not just a happy happy lovey dovey story. Like there's like quite a lot of like dark elements in it, and yeah, I think it's just such an effective film, and every single time I watch it, the ending absolutely just floors me. Yeah, I just can't stop crying. It's such a beautiful film. So naturally, I've got a bone to pick with Emmanuel and Simon for putting enjoyment below a 5, but like we'll get to that.
Wait, you maybe you need to put sound cancellation on.
What?
Someone needs to put sound cancellation on their Skype.
I was about to say, someone's like typing really loudly. I don't know if it was, your mechanical keyboard, right? Just it was just like I heard. I was
It's
like,
not me. I've been muted.
It's usually Ben. No.
Oh. Hey, Pat. Oh. Hey, Pat. How you feeling?
Tired.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, yes. Obviously, you are probably you're snacking, right?
Hold on, this isn't even loading up properly. Give me 1 sec.
That's all right.
Oh, here we are. Love the jumper, Simon. Love the jumper.
For some reason, of all people, I thought you would like it as well. Yeah, it's like 3 sizes too small for me. So because like as I said, just like my stomach is just like popping out. I just not want to go for but yeah.
I think I did want to buy one this year, but I was sort of focusing money on other things, so I might get it for next year.
I don't know if this will last until next year. I think it might like get this if I stretch anymore, just disintegrate in the next couple of hours. Yep.
Rob, you're muted.
I don't like Rob's shirt.
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You joined at the perfect time, Pat, because you popped up at the exact same moment that I reached the wind farm on Death Stranding.
Oh, you're playing Death Stranding now?
Oh, it's windy.
Fuck, yes.
Yeah, he doesn't like Cyberpunk because it's not open world enough.
Well, no, it's just that I bought Cyberpunk in the hopes that it would be open world, and it wasn't. So I just need to play it at a different time.
2077?
Yeah.
It's semi.
No, you chose the wrong game for that.
Yeah, I know that
now.
It's semi-open world. I think of it like God of War, where you've got open world elements, but you've got a fixated path.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it just seems to be like, I don't know. It's quite linear, but you can kind of just do what you want in between the linear stuff. But the stuff that you can do isn't very.
I mean, no, because it's CD Projekt Red, and it tried to be a Bethesda version of like an open world game, like a Fallout, but it just didn't live up to the hype. But and afterwards, it took them like many years to revamp it to make it a better game. But it's just like it became like it's okay now, but it's like before because of the hype that it was trying to generate, and what it delivered just destroyed where it was, and it's just like a sad version of a video game. Where Death Stranding was always about being just like weird, and because it kept being weird, you go, all right, yeah, this game is kind of weird, but I'm kind of interested in the weird. So it's like, yeah.
Good thing John ain't here because he'd rip you apart for saying that.
I love Death Stranding.
He hates it, and he's never played it.
I think it's just so weird. But I was like, it's kind of my game to be weird about it, you know.
Postman
so
Simulator.
But sorry, we're getting off track. Back to It's a Wonderful Life.
We are getting off track.
Yeah, it's a wonderful Death Stranding.
No.
You motherfuckers are getting off track.
Sorry.
I
yeah,
am the
so,
cause of all this because you were talking about things normally, and then I come in and ruin the apple cart.
sorry.
Well,
All right. I'll say this. I mean, wait, actually, quick question. Who
Yes,
has watched
Simon,
this film
we-
first?
we
I mean,
know
who's watched it
wearing
before?
a Dragon Ball shirt jumper. We get it. We get it.
Wait, so
Who,
what did
who
you
else
say?
has watched this film beforehand?
I.
What, just you, Ben?
Yeah.
Has everyone-
Obviously me, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
obviously-
mean, yeah. Who's okay? I guess who's watched this film more than twice? Because
Me.
I only watched it like once this time, and I get why people like it nowadays. I kind of understood why it wasn't as popular as it was when it first came out. It takes time to get used to like the character of George, and like his. I would like to say his, oh God, what have I done? Sort of like lifestyle in his voice, and I just like I get it. It took time to get used to the character, or like really get into him like destroying Christmas decorations and shouting at his wife and kids and stuff. And it's like I
Wait.
get, all right, yeah, no, obviously
Simon,
why
can
he
I
does
just-
that.
Simon, can I just ask the question quickly? Is this the first James Stewart film you've seen?
It might be. I don't know.
Yeah, it's my first one as well.
Maybe
Oh, my God.
that'll be interesting if we have another one then, because I think
Yeah.
that's just his regular voice.
Oh, is it? Oh,
After watching
Yes,
this,
sir.
I'm quite
Yes,
interested in watching other stuff you've done.
but obviously we get why he has been.
What's the face?
Oh, sorry. Let me go back to that. I understand what he's been through and like the situation and his situations that got him to want to go and unalive himself on the bridge, right? But it's kind of no, you can't say certain words on YouTube. I realize because you quickly get like banned or demonetized. But in any case, I get it. But it took me a while to like really get into his character. If I watch this film again, like when I go eventually watch Sorcerer again, I'll probably go, right, I get it now. So this is definitely one of those films where if I do have a rewatch, I'll probably go, I think I get him more. And as I would get him more, I'll be like, oh, I see the points of the film. At certain points will be more highlighted from other points. I see the super old-fashioned like evil person that is Mr. Potter. He really was just missing that like curly mustache, because of like how evil he is as like like a lone, well, not a lone jack, was it like a slum landlord? I was like, yeah, he's just so cartoonishly evil into a certain point. And I was like, if I watch this again, or as it was, if I watched it again every Christmas for free over the next like few years, then I'll be like, oh right, okay, I get this movie and I will like it more. But as a first watch, it was okay. It wasn't that bad. It was quite good. It was good at most points, but it's like, it was okay. And that's like, I don't know. It just didn't hit with me the first time.
You didn't get Potter was not very nice enough this time.
No, I never said that. I said I didn't get this film as a whole. I didn't feel the super like awe-inspiring Christmassiness of this film as a lot of people seem to have of this film. And it's like, was it that super great a film? As in, like, would you make it sound like this film was better than Casablanca? And I'm like, I don't know about that.
I think it's up
Oh
there.
no! Casablanca is way better than this film. But it's like, is it like the best film in the world? No, this film is definitely not that. Is it a good film? Yeah. Is it as amazing as you guys tried to describe it as? No, not really. It's like I just don't feel it. If I watch it again next Christmas, I'll probably go, yeah, you know what? It's not too bad a film, but it's gonna take a time. It's gonna take a while. Like it it took everyone else when it first came out a while to warm up to this film.
It's a little bit subtle. Yeah, definitely.
I'm surprised you say that, Simon, because like no matter how many times I watch it, like there's like loads of little bits that just I don't know. I just find myself reacting exactly how they want me to react. Like no matter how well versed I am in what's coming, it's always like the bit where he wishes that he was never born, and then he goes back and his town's been renamed Potterville. I'm always like, you Potter. Like it's such a just loads of little things like that. Like I'm just, every time I'm in for it, man. And yeah, I don't know. I can't watch the Auld Lang Syne scene without tearing up.
I did like that scene. I feel like that was like incredibly sweet because everyone, eventually because of what he did, and everyone chipped him, help him back. I was like, yes, that's like the final morale of the story. But it was like, yeah, but it's just like it really took. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like it did really take its time to get there. I don't know how to explain it because like, okay. Actually, I've been going on about it, but a bit too long. Let's give someone else a chance to speak first.
Yeah, it should have definitely been quicker about it. If we'd rushed to it, it would have been a lot better. It would have meant more.
No, it's just like it's split into two halves of like his backstory half, then eventually it gets into Clarice coming down
every time.
To say
it's quite an old school form of the film. Like it's more similar to like what you see in theaters now. But then I suppose back then it was normal to have an intermission. So yeah, so I guess it was probably written with that in mind. But
okay.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's just, I think it's so timeless, and I think as well. I think part of the reason why it gets me so much is because back then you could kind of just like there was no sort of like pretense about what your political beliefs were. Like you could just go and make a film like this where you're going like socialism's fine and Potter's not. And it's like I like how like blunt it is about what it believes. I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's something as well where I mean I don't know. We always talk about how easy it is to make me cry, but like one of the things that always gets me is that when you see somebody who's like, or when you see something where you can go like, oh, the person behind this has done really well, like that always gets me. And I don't know. I think that's what's played into me feeling Christmassy all of a sudden, is because you've had 2 hours of me going, they've done really well here, and then that's made me feel all like soft. And then Auld Lang Syne's come on, and I've just gone, yeah, it's Christmas. And it's not like, I think that's one of the things I love about it actually, because it's not like overtly a Christmas film, but it's so good at like the Christmas feeling. And this is the kind of Christmas film that we could have picked in July.
Yeah.
Don't you make that face, you Grinch picking?
I feel like we're going.
Yeah, but remember, I picked it because it was April 1st. So that's unless you're trying to Rob, unless you're trying to say this is an April 1st pick, I don't think your point lands as well.
I don't know, man. I think you could have it.
So you're saying that this is a joke? This is a joke pick. Rob. That's what you're saying. Be careful of what you're words. You got up to Alec. I picked Grinch because it was a jokey pick.
I don't want to pick. Gonna upset me like you have.
To be honest, this would pass more as a film at any point in the year than The Grinch does. Like this film is a good film without the Christmas backdrop.
Yes, I agree with that. And that's not to say it's not a Christmas film.
And The Grinch is purely a December film.
It's like Die Hard. It's like Die Hard is a Christmas film, but you can watch it any time of the year.
No, Ben, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's the Christmas film.
But you can watch it any time of the year, like Wonderful Life, and it still works. Because it's a quintessentially great film.
I find Die Hard a little bit hard to dissect, actually. I think I need to see it a few times to really dig into what it's getting at.
You don't need to watch it anymore, because I know what you're like when you watch things multiple times.
Nosedive.
I think it's a bit like Harvey, because I was saying before that another James Stewart film, so you might not get on with the voice again, Simon. But yeah, like it's just I don't know. There's like a really just a nice thing behind it, innit? And it's just like I think the thing I love the most about it is what it's all building towards, because like he does have a tough life, and although he's sort of been born into a position of a position that you would think would mean that he had an easier life than most. Like he does go through it a bit, and he's always looking out for other people, and like he's a good person who's kind of like lost his way a bit, and then I just think that the whole thing of him finding his way, and then the way he finds his way, and you could maybe argue that the whole thing about the angel getting its wings and all of that is maybe a bit campy, but I'm there for it, man. I think it's I would say it's one of the best films ever. I think it's so well put together as a story. I think I really love that this is the last pick of the year, because that means that the last shot of the year is that card with "No man is a failure who has friends." I think that's so relevant to Film Club as well.
Thank you, Rob. That was the correct take.
Some people find it tricky. Can I just say,
it's not actually that difficult.
Can I just say, this happens every time we talk about one of your films. Someone says something that you don't like, and you get the raging up.
Every time I pick one of my films, Simon just doesn't get it. It's all right. It's
so.
It's not
what's going to mean is that's
definitely not true. That's definitely not true. Mainly because I literally talked about one of your picks that I really did like, which is Casablanca. And like I literally said that like 5-10 minutes ago. It's just that this film.
Yes.
Actually, no. Let's pass it on to everyone else first, because I know that I've enjoyment-wise, Emmanuel scored it even lower than I did. So I would like to hear his thoughts on it. Please.
Somebody needs to pick Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, because that's James Stewart talking for 2 hours.
See, I kind of found this film like that courtroom one that Ben picked.
12 Angry Men.
Yeah, so like it was very like obviously it was quite an old film, but it was very sort of character and dialogue heavy, which I quite liked. But when Alec picked it, I was like, I'm not too sure about this. It's never something that I've been interested in watching. I've seen sort of clips, and I was like, I don't know. But I said I'll watch it and see what happens. And like from early on, I was quite hooked. I didn't quite like James Stewart's character at first, so it's like fucking hell, he's so rude to her. And then you sort of continue watching and sort of see how the character and their general relationship grows. And I very much enjoyed it, especially the bit after the guardian angel comes into it, because it sort of reminds me of sort of where I was at times, especially during lockdown 2.
So Lockdown 2, or like is in Lockdown the sequel, or Lockdown as well?
No, I mean the actual lockdown where we couldn't do anything.
Well, the first one.
No, the second one.
Oh,
okay. the last big lockdown that we had.
Right.
So it was the general message.
Where I was sort of struggling mentally with it, and you sort of wonder what your place in the world was. Obviously, like the circumstances around it is completely different. He's obviously worried about getting done for fucking fraud, shit like that. But I think it dealt with the depression angle probably one of the best that I've seen. Like there's so many films that have dealt with it really well, but this is probably, I don't want to push about it and say one of the first films to do it, but it's definitely one of the best to do it.
It's definitely ahead of its time.
Yeah, like I think that's what's pushed it over the edge for me. Like it was a good film. The characters are really cool. But that whole sequence with the guardian angel was fantastic.
I think like just talking about it being ahead of its time, I was it's gone out of my head.
Oh,
that
no,
was it.
trying to reach
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. just
Sorry, socialism. Yeah, there you go.
just talking about it being ahead of its time. I was thinking while I was watching it, like it's quite nice in a way because the whole thing with the guardian angel when he's like, oh, no, I saved you and all of that kind of stuff. I was thinking like it's such a campy approach to like mental health and all that kind of stuff, but it's also really nice because back then it is not really something that was. Well, yeah, I suppose it's not something that was really understood, and it wasn't really something that was spoken about. And
Can I just augment your point a little bit there?
Mm.
Because I adore that opening scene where it's the two stars talking to each other. And the first time I showed Ebby, she was like, "What the fuck are you showing me?" And I was like, just stick with it. It's all right. But there's that little line. It goes like, "What, is George Bailey sick?" And he goes, "Worse, he's discouraged." That's the cutest line I've ever heard. Sorry, yeah, you were talking about how mental health and all that.
Yeah, that was it really. Like, I just think it's dealt with such like a not kid gloves, but like it's dealt with it. It's kind of like a light touch, but it's a light touch in a way that's actually quite nice, rather than being because it could have easily been something that you look back on sort of like 80 years later and you go, this is ridiculous. They didn't have a clue, but it's just like it's maybe not something that they understood fully or like as well as we do now, but it's just treated with so much like kindness and sweetness that it's just really nice.
Yeah,
it's a very kind film. I think that's probably the best way to describe it.
Definitely, and like it's I think as well, like they I don't know. I felt like they kind of did get it to like a degree, not like as sophisticated, but like George being. I know this is a bit of a sore point here, but George being rude to Mary, it's stuff coming out. Out of it's just frustration. It's just frustration. He does everything he's supposed to do. He does everything right. He tries to go. He tries to do right by people every time he can. He gives up his education. He gives up his ambition. He gives up the life he wants because his father believed in helping people. And he can't stand to let that just die.
Mm.
And having something like that, he can't just let that leave. So the price of that is that he gives up his life basically. So I can see when he's doing all that all the time and he's given up everything and it all just keeps blowing up in his face, I can absolutely see why he gets frustrated at stuff. And the first time he's rude to Mary, I don't like seeing him like it, but it's all out of I was gonna go and travel like I've always wanted to do. I finally got all the money. I saved up my whole life to be able to travel and go and get an education, and now I can't do fucking any of it. And you've all gone to school, and now you've all shacked up with each other. When I thought this was happening between us. And it's like, yeah, of course he's a little bit put out with her. Like, I'm not saying he handles it like that well, but he's not,
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, it's sort of, well, it's another thing about it being from a different time, really, because I suppose now, like the sort of attitude to how you approach that kind of thing is different because it's all about understanding what's going on, whereas then it's just sort of having empathy for what's going on, which is arguably a nicer way to approach things, I suppose. Because it's not that like the way that he's handling everything and it's not nice to see, but you've got enough to go, I can see how somebody would get into that headspace. Whereas now I feel like the temptation would be to justify what he's doing, where it's not necessarily that it has to be justified. You just need to have a bit of sympathy for him.
That's it, and that's George being horrible to her. That's not his normal behaviour. That's the sign. That's your main signifier that something's really wrong. Because he doesn't usually. Like, he absolutely adores her.
Mm.
And when he's kind of, when he gets home, and he's just letting it all kind of get on top of him, and he can't just like brush it under the rug as such. Like, he's vulnerable at home, and so she sadly gets the brunt of it when it happens. But he can't. He's got to let it out somehow. And like, he never hits anybody. Well, okay, he hits the policeman, but
No, I think that's a really nice bit as well when Potter offers him.
Hit a policeman, we might as well all go home.
That's why I really like the scene when Potter offers him a job, because it's like, because he's got, it's not everything that he'd ever wanted, but it's an easy way out of a lot of the things that are dragging him down at that point in time. And you've seen like the effect that it has on him, and how he's not able to deal with it in the best ways. And I mean, obviously he's the kind of person, he doesn't want to be taken out on the people that are close to him, so you can see all of these reasons why this easy way out is like something that he would want to go with. And I love that he's like excited about it, and he can see how like everything's going to change for him in that moment, and he's about to do it. And then there's just a little bit that says like, no, we need to think about this. And then as soon as he thinks about it, he's like, no, you're an evil bastard, go away. Like, I think that's such a well-written scene.
That's one of my favorite scenes as well, because it's this temptation and this moment of choice, and the choice that makes him a good man and a bad man is right there, and he picks being a good man. His like morals and conscience is clear by choosing the path he does, because he knows that if he does this, it's just like it's just sold out, and sure, his life will be better, but on the whole, he won't be happy. He won't be happy knowing the knowledge of working for a man that's kind of made his dad's life a misery and his own life a misery. It's like, and just everything he stands for is just against what George Bailey stands for himself. So it had to be only that way, and that just shows you how much of a wonderful man he is. And that's why George Bailey is such a great character, because despite everything he's done that's ever been good in his life, he has this self-doubt and this like second guessing himself, and he's always like, am I good enough? Or like, I want to be the best, I want to do this and that, but I don't have the opportunity. I have to look for my family, look after my family, and do this and that. And he's always thinking about other people but not himself, and that just shows you everything you need to know, and that's why he's such a lovely man.
Yeah, definitely, man. I completely agree. I kind of got distracted during that because I just noticed that Simon's jumper's just slowly riding up during the call. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you, man. Like, I think it's great. Like, there's so many. I think that's the thing. Like, I think this is the first time I've watched this since we got the house and like all of that kind of stuff. So those bits where he's talking about how difficult it is for a working man to save up $5,000 and all of that kind of stuff, you kind of hear it with a different perspective. Like, once you've
did you see the meme, Rob? Sorry to interrupt you there, but the meme about back in what year it was like basically 77 years ago it was made, this film, and yet despite the time difference, a working man to earn £5,000 is still just as hard.
Yeah. I was about to say, that's like probably the favorite scene for me. Is like, it's a very understandable and like man, as a man who works and just tries to do what's right for his family and stuff. That's probably my favorite scene for this movie. It's like, it gets to you. Yeah.
Yeah, the themes and everything like that is still so timeless for those sort of little details. Even if it wasn't intended, it kind of somehow managed to like be a cornerstone film in that regard, because just the this discrepancy of like people who work for a living versus the people who are like the capitalists of the world, you might say, like Mr. Potter. It just shows you everything, and it has not aged today, and it's just as relevant as it was when it came out as it is now, if not more so.
It's so timeless, man, because it reminded me of when we first moved in, and we were unpacking stuff, and Rachel was like, "Oh, do you feel like this is a big achievement?" And I was like, "No, I'm annoyed that this wasn't more accessible. Like, it's like I don't think we should have spent years saving up to do this. I feel like this is something everyone has a right to." Like, but
it just goes into like why a Tory mindset so like broken, where it's sort of like if we like hoard all the wealth, then we'll make a better working class, and it's like, are you retarded? Like, that's not how it works. If more people have more money, then you have a stronger economy. That's how that works. Like, and that's what George is trying to do. He doesn't. when like a Potter's surveyor, he's going like the houses he's building are like triple the value of what he's like selling them for, and it's like, yeah, he's getting real. He's paying the extra money to make these houses worth living in. And it's like, yeah, you help people get on their feet, and you make them you give them the freedom to be able to spend money, and then everyone can spend money.
I do like that scene at the dinner table, actually. You just reminded me, where he's like, he basically says, "I want to do something that's important with my life." And the response is like, "Oh, in a way, I feel like we are." And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's such a like, I suppose it's that sort of like working class pride thing in it. That kind of thing. That and dad stuff always gets me.
His dad is wonderful, and I think that's the lovely thing with George is like, it's such a good arc because he thinks he's not important if he's in Bedford Falls, and it's like can make a difference in Bedford Falls, and it's like it's such a cool thing with character where there's a general sort of notion. You have what a character wants, and you have what a character needs. And what the character wants is often very, very often not what the character needs. And George wants to go out into the world and be a big shot. And that's not what he needs. What he needs is to be a big shot in Bedford Falls and make a difference in Bedford Falls. And that, I think that's just kind of like what that whole ending is. He spent this whole time being dissatisfied at not being a big shot. And then he gets to the end and the whole town come in and they all can't, like, they're all falling over each other to help him out because he's been helping them out the whole time. And it's just, I think that's just what hits me, like, just in my heart bones. Like, I just.
I think
that's a great moment.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just about to say that moment when his dad, the decision he makes to take over the company in the bank, that just like you can feel his heart break. He's like, look, he wants to travel the world and do this and that. Everything he promised Mary he'd wanted to do, he can't because the obligation to his family and everything else. He has to make that choice right there. So the first choice he has to make in his life that has the most significance. Well, actually, to be fair, the second choice after saving his brother's life, but that's a no-brainer. But it was so important to him to actually become. Basically, he didn't want to. I can sense that he didn't want to become his dad, but at the same time, he didn't want to let his dad down. So therefore, he had to kind of like step in his shoes, even though that wasn't his real calling. He still felt obligated to choose it, and that's so fascinating that he did that.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I suppose it's quite a common thing just in film and any other kind of like storytelling art form, really. Like, is that thing of like the obligation to carry on a family business. It's like it's a really interesting thing because it's like well, I suppose actually, Simon, you could probably speak a bit to that because it's more than just it's more than just a business in it, because there's also kind of like a family legacy there and all of that kind of stuff as well.
No, he had trouble relating.
I mean, I was Harry before I was George. It's kind of hard. It's hard to explain particularly with me, but I was both. But it's a question of like, once you're Harry, going off, saving the troops and saving all those people in your. He was a pilot, right? Yeah, he was. If I remember, he was fighting the war. But it's like, after all that stuff and all the glory, then after something happened and he had to come back home, it's not like Harry had to suddenly just go, I got the Congressional Medal of Honor. Now I'm going to help you work in the bank and loan in, wasn't it? I can't remember the name of the building, right?
Building and loan.
Building and loan, yeah, that's it. It's like, it's complicated for me. And that's all I would say for me, because if I can't explain it on this call, while being stuffed by this very tight jumper without going like overly emotional and angry. But it's very complicated. But I will say I get him wanting to do everything else, because essentially what would happen if he left, I feel like it was his uncle or one of the other people says like, but if you leave, then they'll just vote for Potter. And afterwards there's that quick sharp cut of music and he's like staring into the camera and he's like, and it's like he has to make that decision right there and then. That was good. That was interesting to see, because it was interesting to see where it would have went from there.
That's probably one of my favourite like recurring things throughout it, actually, just like all of the choices that he's given. And every one, it would have been easier just to take the decision that was selfish, but he never takes it.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like there's one scene that kind of like, again, it goes back to him and Mary, right?
Good grief. Too much information. That's all right. That's lovely. That is. Thank you, sweet. Oh my days. Good God. Is it? Oh,
it's the game. It's the same game.
It's the game. He's having a shower.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Come on, Frank. Go with us.
Sorry, Rob, I just realised what you're talking about. Are you playing Death Stranding right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Jesus Christ. Okay, that explains a lot.
So, Alec criticised me for gaming while on the call. I'm only playing FIFA. He's playing a bloody big story game that he has to focus on.
I'm not doing story missions. I'm just picking up lost cargo and delivering it.
Alec's face right now. Exactly.
Sorry.
I just want Jen to come back, because Simon's got this really sweet jumper. I think she needs to see. It's all down. We need to talk about it.
Well, no, he's watching Norman Reedus having a shower right now.
Well, yeah. No, I'm passively showering.
Are you? So you're passive. So you're peeping time. You're passively watching him have a shower. Christ, just admit you're a pervert and just watch him. Just Jesus Christ. In any case, back to the film. Mary, how long was Mary waiting for him after they literally just got married and they was trying to sort the stuff out at the building?
Till Christmas.
She was waiting for him for quite a while, right? And she is quite a saint to deal with that, because like just got married, like, sorry love, I've got to leave you for about a few hours, got something out at work. And just like, we literally just got married. We're literally going to our house to, have like our first meal as like a couple. And you're leaving me as like, oh, she is like literally a saint. I feel like she could be an angel herself, if Clarence wasn't there,
Yeah, I suppose in a way she is kind of a guardian angel herself. She just hasn't got any wings to get yet.
Yeah. Anyone got bells
in helping out at his work?
Say that again?
She's the one who offers the 2000 as well. So she does take an active role in helping him out as well.
I do love that bit actually when that guy who asked for $242 that's another thing that every time I watch it I'm like you. But yeah, the woman who asked for $17.50 and then he's like, "Oh, thank you so much." That's one that always gets me.
That was so good. Yeah, you can see how wholesome he was. Is that he was willing to like bail everyone out, and obviously there were some busters like you mentioned that would just like rinse him for his worth. But then the majority of people were so like, I just want like $10 or something. And it's just like they were just like you could see why he'd want to help them out, and yeah, that's what the town was all about from the start. It was just this camaraderie. And just coming together and just her just being like selfless, and that's like the main theme I think of the film.
Yeah.
You'll help each other out. Yeah. You help each other out.
I must admit, I think now that we've had this and Muppet Christmas Carol, we've peaked for Christmas picks. I don't think we're ever going to beat these two.
I think
It's kind of pork pie.
Klaus is a similar sort of thing where it's just kind of one good turn sparks another.
What was that, sorry?
With Klaus.
Klaus.
Oh, Klaus, right.
That thing, yeah.
One good deed.
Is it like sparks another, and it's like, yeah, that's actually also like a similar theme with this one, like, because that's the thing. Like, I feel like it's such a thing where George feels like he couldn't ask for help. He's always the one to help people when he doesn't even think to ask anyone. And yeah, Potter kind of like puts that in his head where like if he admits to it, he like everyone's gonna turn on him, and it's not the truth of it like whatsoever. It's because they all realise he's in trouble. They fall over each other to help him. It's like,
yeah.
It's just such a sweet film.
It is. I think George is really relatable as well because like there's bits of like I think all of us that I could see in him, and it's like it's not necessarily like big kind of. It's not like sort of. I don't know how to word it really. Like it's not like sort of traits or well, it is traits really, but like it's not. It's just like sort of like little bits about his character where I was going like, yeah, I can see like any one of us in that. And I don't like I wouldn't call him like a sort of like a coat hanger protagonist, but he is that kind of person that I think if you know decent people, you can see a lot of people in.
Wait, sorry, I've never heard of coat hanger protagonist.
Well, just like that thing where it's like the only reason that the character exists is so that you can insert yourself into the story. So they haven't really got their own personality. It's just a blank slate.
Oh right, okay. So same conversation of shoes and trousers again. So
yeah. To be honest, now. I think the reason you've never heard it before is because I think I made it up on the spot.
That's a good way. Because I thought you meant like passive protagonist, but I don't think George is a passive protagonist because he's like drives the story. And,
okay.
And that you mean it's like you can put yourself onto him. You can reflect your own image onto him as a person.
Well, he has his own. This is sort of how you do like a character that is sort of you want to say he's like he's unshaken in his morals and that, and it's like you make that guy interesting by testing him, and you move the floorboards underneath him, see how much you can push him, and there's like some points where he does like waver and he is tempted and he does like lose his temper and that, but he always kind of comes out of it at the end. Like I see what Rob means where you think he's gonna be like a mouthpiece, but he's his own. He's like a very compelling character. You can have like these these very very moral characters. Yeah, he's got a lot of dimension for someone who's going to be trying to do the same thing over and over again.
In a way, I suppose like it's kind of like the dead opposite of something like The Shining, because it's like in The Shining, you got like the whole thing about generational trauma, and you've got that father and son thing going on in like such like a negative space. But then in this, everything's the opposite, because it's about like learning how to be kind from the generation above you and then carrying that through to the rest of your community. Like it's lovely, isn't it?
It is lovely.
When we were watching it earlier, my mum asked why you picked it, and I was like, I know it's Christmas, and she said, "Oh, the big softy."
The pig's what?
Softy.
The pig softy.
Yeah.
Mr. Softy.
What does that mean?
Well, it's just
It's
because you picked a nice sweet film.
Yeah, he's a soft soul.
She called you a big wuss.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
To be fair, I think in this house it's a compliment.
I can't believe you've never heard of that term. It's quite a it's quite a regular sort
Yes.
Oh,
of
I heard of it. I just thought Rob would garbled a sentence. I thought, okay, let's not go into it. Simon's got a Dragon Ball shirt. Let's just go back to that.
winning.
Wait, Dragon Ball shirt of being called Big Softy? I don't know. Big Softy is also an ice cream brand, if I remember.
To be fair, what's on your shirt is a mascot for Big Softy as well. In terms of anime
What?
character.
Is he a big softy?
In what sense?
Yeah, so like when he's not fighting, he's like one of the most kind-hearted characters in anime.
Oh, is it?
Or at least what I experienced.
Not tarnishing It's a Wonderful Life 77th anniversary with anime shit.
Okay, instead
I
we'll
would agree with that.
we'll just mix in some more Death Stranding. So how are you? sorry.
Hang on. No, we're not talking about Death
Cyberpunk.
Stranding. We're going to let Emmanuel talk, because I haven't heard from him yet.
Yeah,
But
go on,
Emmanuel
Manuel.
wants to talk about Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Emmanuel wants to talk about Dragon Ball.
So now about
And you're-
Cyberpunk.
Emmanuel, if you're not going to talk about Dragon Ball and other crap, then you can carry on.
Right then, bye then. I'll probably talk to you after the call if you have a moment, Rob. So my opening statement.
Okay.
Sorry, I was losing my track of thoughts because doing multiple things. I thought it was genuinely a great film. As overall, as you can see, my score is like 8.7, 8.8 or something like that. And I also get, like I posted in the chat before, I get why at first the film wasn't as well received. Like it was too soon. That was just it. People were too much in pain and still like in all of the feelings and suffering and things after the war. I mean, even James Stewart had PTSD, and some of the things on set that made him even better for his character. But even he was dealing with PTSD during the filming of the set. This times he broke down crying. Like it was really great. You had the production was very impressive. I scored the production higher. But like at the time, that was some great production. Like they did really well, even from like the we're gonna make new type of snow to the we're gonna build a whole freaking crazy little mini town to make this. And yeah, while it might not be unheard of, it was still I think impressive and really good. Um, in terms of enjoyment, I'm I know I'm unique in my own way. That at first I started off enjoying it and enjoying all the characters and whatnot. And I think this probably is one of my first or one of my only James Stewart films I've seen. I also don't remember this film. I'm sure I've been shown it once when I was way too young to remember. probably like some, like I have a vague recollection of maybe when I was 5 or something. Maybe I was shown the film. It was on in the background, but otherwise, this is like my first time watching it. Um, and I think all the acting is great, honestly. Um, but yeah, as the film gets into it, I get more frustrated with his character. I think it's really well done and it's very realistic. Props to all the things that like they did and all the filming and whatnot. But yeah, I kind of go in the opposite direction. I kind of warmed up to him pretty much immediately, like from the kids as he's getting older, and then I think from the moment like I don't remember. Yeah. I think the moment that really like I was starting to get more and more like frustrated or detached with him. And then the moment that really I guess started it was when he was taking out how he felt about himself on Mary before they got married. It's
Mm.
that moment where she comes back. And then from there it just got worse and worse in different points. And then there'll be points in between where it's okay. And then it's just like that doesn't really help. Sorry, the random sound effect. But point is, because I was frustrated and annoyed at the character, it 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 ruined my kind of enjoyment of the ending. So when the ending of them all coming in happens and giving the money, I'm still like, this guy. Like
This is
it
very you.
huh?
This is very you.
Yeah. It's just like, well, I'm glad that it all worked out in the end. I'm glad it worked out in the end. It's like I'm not like because even her mom cries as well at the end, and it makes sense. Like if I like if I'm stepping back and looking at it from logical point of view, which I try to, like I think it's a really great film. It's got great messaging. It deals with a lot of stuff well, like Pat and multiple people said. And yeah, again, like I understand why they couldn't receive it when it first came out. It was too soon. They could not receive that message of, oh, all these terrible things you just went through and you're going through right now, where it all has a reason, it all has a point. No, they were George lashing out. They were George that whole scene, the whole scenes where he's shown the world where doesn't exist. They were at that point. They could not accept the message because that's where they were mentally. They were still going through it and they had to get to the other side to be able to watch this film and go, you know what? It is a wonderful life.
Mhm.
And the things I've done, little Tommy across the street, Rosa down the road, and Auntie Betty like around the corner, like even though yes, this is not what I wanted and I have lots of obligations and this, if it wasn't for me, like my little brother or thingy wouldn't be able to do what they're doing. That child wouldn't have been able to be as successful as they are because of my sacrifices. All this is happening. Like they had to give time to heal before they could really receive the message in this film.
Mm.
Yeah, otherwise it's really good. And yeah, I think it's technically good. So, yeah.
Really good, but he was mean to his wife once, so fuck him.
At the end of the day, like again, very personal. I don't get. I know it happens all the time, but I don't get how you can take out your anger and frustration to that extent on people who have nothing to do with your frustration. And it happens all the time, but I don't get it. Like to the point of like destroying some of the stuff your kids made, cussing your kids and like stripping their self-confidence, saying that what's the point of these kids existing, saying to your wife like everything you've done is pointless, all the work you've done, it doesn't matter. I'm just like, without giving any context to what he's just been through. Like if he even had just said a glimpse of what just happened to him. Because for all they know, he's coming. He seems like off, like he's not drunk or anything. So he seems like okay, he's just down and down because it's hard at the moment, and just starts cussing them all, as if like they like none of this should happen. They shouldn't exist, and then goes out drinking, and I'm just like, well, well, I get it. He's having a breakdown. It's still not enjoyable to watch, of course.
I think to be fair though, like I mean, considering sort of well, just generally speaking, like men are historically bad at that kind of thing anyway. But then this was also 77 years ago, and he's got all of everything that's going on happening to him, and he's got no release. So I think it's just human nature that you would blow up in any direction without meaning to.
I was gonna say he's like a 40 eras. No, he's a 40s era like male. Like he doesn't have like our understanding of mental health or how to release your anger like healthily, and he doesn't. He's not someone who is accustomed to asking for help. He is someone who helps people, but he can't. He can't really like reach out to people. He doesn't feel like he's able to reach out to people. And it's like, yeah, like it's like I said, when he's at home, that's when the facade kind of fucks off. And it's like, I get that you don't enjoy it, but like, it is understanding like that this is not George's normal behaviour, and he never wants to make his kids feel like shit, and he never wants to make Mary feel like shit. But he doesn't have, like Rob said, he just doesn't have that release. He doesn't have that understanding of how to release it. Because of the time period he's in.
I think a really interesting scene for that is when his brother comes back, and then his new wife is talking about this job that he's been offered and all of that, and it's just like the look on his face where like he's bottling it all up, but he's thinking like, shit, this was supposed to be my time, and the whole reason I stayed here getting 4 years older was so that I'd have this time after you've done what you want to do. And now I still can't do what I want to do because you've been offered a job from this woman's dad. And like you can see that this is all going through his head, but he just bottles it up and he never really says it. And I think it's all what you said, Alec, about him being the one who helps people and not being able to ask for help. So he's got no sort of like reasonable outlet for any of this. He can't really tell anyone because the people that he would be telling are the people that he's supposed to be helping in his mind. And so it just gets to a point where it's like it's just too much of a burden to carry around with him. And I think that's what makes him such an interesting character, because he's not a bad person. He just doesn't have anywhere to put all of this energy that's building up inside him constantly, because he's the one who helps people rather than being the one who can ask for help.
Mm. And I think that's also something that's all bottling up. Like when he's first rude to Mary when she comes back, that is a contributing factor. Like he thought he was getting out, and now Harry's come back with a wife and gone like, yeah, and Harry understands, by the way. Like he does go like, George, sorry, like I know exactly why you'd be mad. That's not the situation, but like he thought he was out for ages. He's been looking forward to being out. It's not happening, and it looks like Harry's about to ditch him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hot Pants Mary comes back and she's engaged to Sam Wainwright. And he's like, fuck's sake, what is this? And his mum's going like, you should check out Mary. And he's like, fuck, Mary? It looked like we were getting together at one point, and she fucked off and started getting with someone else. Like, I can see why he's a bit fucking off with her. Like, it's not her fault, but like, he can't. Yeah, he doesn't have an outlet to do it healthily because that kind of understanding of mental health wasn't there 77 years ago.
Yeah, and I think another thing as well is that like all of the things that happened to him. I mean, I think the thing with Harry is it's a little bit more kind of like, oh, you are doing a bad thing kind of thing. But it's even then, it's not cut and dry that people are doing bad things to him. It's just that people are getting on with their lives when he's not able to. So even if he did have an outlet, it's not as if his problems would be received as being the most reasonable problems. It's just that he's in a situation that suffocates him. Unfortunate.
On a side take, I saw some really bad, not hot takes, but just really bad takes, even from like, I don't know when it was written, New York Times. There's some people really cussing this film, and I was just like, you really don't get this film, do you? You really don't get what
Following
this
Simon
film.
on Twitter.
What?
Are you following Simon on Twitter? Is that what you're saying? Nick?
Wait,
No,
who?
I am so confused at this reference.
You were talking about bad takes about this film, and I asked if you were following Simon on Twitter.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I have Twitter? I don't know. I was like, I have Twitter? What? I'm barely on Threads. What the fuck?
But yeah, hasn't really taken off as much. Anyway, they were just basically cussing the film and saying just how depressing it is, and kind of like these two writers of the film refused to watch it after they finished the script. Said, this is horrid. And I'm just like,
I think that's
I'm-
mad. Like, I can get your thing, Emmanuel, about like it not being enjoyable for you to watch personally, and like that because that's just how you respond to certain things. But I can't imagine somebody watching this and coming out of it depressed. Like,
I mean, I could, but that's people who haven't moved past whatever they're in. Because, and this is why I said it's too soon. They've just come out of World War II. They've dealt with a lot of death and pain and a whole bunch of messed up stuff. Was the Great Depression yet? Or did that hit the year that this film came out?
It would have been around the time.
I think it doesn't picked it, so it must have happened after it.
Yeah, you're right. And so it's just like you've got so much mess going on. A lot of people don't want to hear any of it because what a lot of people would get from it is, yeah, life sucks. Yeah, life sucks. Oh, I mean, I hope a miracle happens to me, and then walk out the film when they see that ending, because it doesn't seem realistic to them. It's not. This is that is a Christmas miracle kind of thing. So there's a lot of people who are in that would go like, oh, this is horribly depressing film, just telling me what I'm going through already. I don't want to watch this crap.
See, I don't know though, because like the mechanics of it are a miracle, but I think like the thought behind it is something that you can do yourself, because I mean it is essentially just imagining what the world would be without you, and
Yeah.
and then realizing what your impact on the world is from that. I mean, like the way that they do it in the film is like with an angel, and it's all fantasy stuff, but it's not something that you couldn't sort of fathom yourself, I don't think.
I agree with you. I think a lot of people agree with you, and I think when it started getting popular, people started realizing that. I just think obviously a lot of people at first couldn't see that and couldn't get that.
It is actually really interesting, like thinking about it in this way, because I don't know, like you'd kind of expect it to be the other way around, because America has sort of Like they're kind of like dealing with the fallout of the war with this, whereas Japan's dealing with it with Godzilla, and it's like you would expect it to be the
that
other
was
way
a
around.
bit weird, Rob.
No, because
But
it's the
I
same
feel-
thing, isn't it? Like it's like on
I-
both
but
sides. It's
I
like
understand what you're trying to say. I feel it was, from what I'm getting Emmanuel's, from what I'm understanding from Emmanuel, is it was too real for them at that time. I can imagine if there was a zombie film called, Pandemic or Isolation during
probably is.
2020. I think everyone else would be a bit like, it's a bit like, they'll be a bit like, oh, it's a bit too real. I feel like it's very inappropriate for those times, I guess. I think that's the best way to explain it. I feel like for everyone then, it was a bit like, don't really feel like, didn't feel the film.
That's the thing. I think that is a shame if that was like the general consensus, because I think that the sort of like the moral of the story, if you like, is so kind of, it's so like heartwarming, but it's heartwarming in a way that's quite empowering, I guess is the word, because it's like I was saying, like it's all stuff it's stuff that you can gain with introspection, I think, and yeah, I think it's a shame that people took the bad stuff from it without gaining the good from it.
Wondered why I like this film. It is exactly the opposite to Godzilla.
I think you'd really like Godzilla, to be fair. At least, well, the 54 one, I think.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's a really good point though. What you guys have been saying, because I was like, I couldn't get my head around why this film didn't take off when it came out, like you were saying, and because when I mentioned Nightmare Before Christmas didn't do well either, because I could get in my head why that wouldn't do well, but in this case I was like, this film has such a wholesome message. It has such an interesting story and a very like relatable story. But I guess what you've been saying is that the fact it being relatable was probably the reason why people didn't like it, and critics were like really harsh to it, because it kind of like struck a nerve and it was too much for that time, and it was too like hard to stomach. And going straight from World War II into a film like this, when everyone expects a Christmas film, they'd expect something a hell of a lot more lighthearted. And even though I do think it does have the lighthearted kind of like uplifting, amazing ending, it still wasn't. Just the ending isn't enough for the people who experienced this film, because you're just going through this realistic struggle of a man trying to keep his life together and his family together, and it's just like, oh, so I could get why audiences were a bit like hesitant to flock to see a film like this.
I suppose, to be fair, like we've all got that one that sort of you relate to a little bit too much. I think it's well, I mean, that's supposed to be fair. Like, it's one of the things that films should do to you, isn't it? But it's weird that this kind of phenomenon happened en masse.
But I can't remember, did Casablanca do well as well? But considering it came out
Casablanca was a huge hit, wasn't it? Didn't it win the Best Picture?
It did, yeah. And that was after it came out. Despite how melancholic that film
was after they come out.
I think Casablanca was a bit different because it was a different genre of a film, so you went in expecting different things. I think that's another thing as well, expectations.
Yeah.
Like you said, they wanted a very or not sure if you said this quite, but like they went in wanting something uplifting, like a very mostly happy Christmas tale,
consistent uplifting.
Yeah. Throughout, like the classic kind of more cheesy Christmas tale that would have been more common back at the time anyway. And then they got this, and it's just like, wait, what? Whereas with Casablanca, you probably went in expecting some kind of, you can correct me if I'm wrong, some kind of romance, film noir, drama, thriller kind of thing. Like, I think the expectations were different It's also a different time of year. In that way as well, it wasn't necessarily about soldiers at war. It was about a place that was like an escape
Yeah,
from that situation itself.
yeah, that's a good point. It was escape. It was an adjacent. It was parallel to what was happening at the time.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a reprieve in amongst everything that was happening. So it wasn't as directly, hey, this is what's happening to you, but also, oh, here's some cool kind of tale we weave together in this place called Casablanca.
That's from the musical, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I feel it feels really weird to think of it in these terms, where it's just kind of like, well, it's not uplifting all the way through, but like it's very uplifting at the end because you spent so much time with sort of like sitting with sort of darker kind of ideas, and I don't know.
I suppose, to be fair, I mean, like the other side of it is that now I'm thinking about it a bit more. I think one of the reasons that I find it so uplifting is because the whole thing about like having people who are willing to help you is something that's quite relatable for me. Because I'm lucky enough to have people who are willing to help me. I suppose not everyone is.
Thanks, Robert. It's nice to have the shout out.
Well, you were very lucky.
That was snarky, wasn't it?
Well, I was thinking it. That's why I hesitated to say it. I was like, this is going to sound how I'm not intending it to sound, but then it just came out. But that's not how I was intending it to sound.
That's right. I know exactly what you meant. You
But yeah, no, I can imagine, to be fair, like if you've gone through all that and then you've seen the end, and then your takeaway on a personal level is, I don't have anyone who would do that for me. I can imagine how that would be quite crushing.
Maybe you should have been more of a Bailey and less of a Potter.
I don't think I could be accused of being a Potter.
Yeah,
in
you've
any
never stolen
sense.
someone's
Harry
money
Potter.
before, have you? Wait, did you just call him a Harry Potter?
His first name. What was his first name?
Yeah, his name is Harry, isn't it?
No, Harry's his brother.
Oh,
Harry's
okay. Oh, so there was a Harry Potter. Right? What is Potter's name?
Does Potter have a first name?
Yeah, I swear
Oh no,
that's
Henry.
Oh, it's
Harry
Henry.
Potter.
It's close enough.
It's a HP.
Actually, to be fair, Harry is a nickname for Henry, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think it is. It can be.
Oh, fair enough.
So when I was just like, Harry H. Potter, Harry Potter. I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy at the moment, when I'm home. So it's a bit
Oof.
like, this reminds me of this.
Oh, are you up north at the moment, Emmanuel?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Are you up north playing rubbish games?
yeah, I've all games to admit to. Wait, are you liking this game?
It's very good.
Oh,
I thought everyone liked it. I'm surprised someone doesn't.
what?
No,
Sorry,
it's the-
of Harry Potter Legacy.
No,
I
Hogwarts
thought it was a
Legacy,
huge success.
It's the
It's only the
back,
Harry Potter haters that didn't like it, right?
the
Haters
quick
for good
aside
reason.
Yeah.
to explain Simon's face. J.K. Rowling, even though she had nothing to do with developing the game, and they purposely kept her out of it,
Right.
to not have her influence, and made a storyline that was like 200 years before or whatever, so that it wouldn't have anything directly to do with what she wrote, but it's related to the IP. But she still gets royalties,
Oh, yeah.
and she
Yeah,
is.
I just remember everyone just hating
But
on
that's
it
not Simon.
so much, and also because like I heard the gameplay wasn't that great either. I feel like I will get less shit for saying I like Death Stranding than you would get for saying that you liked Hogwarts Legacy. That's how bad Hogwarts Legacy is for like a standpoint.
Oh, that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to get my head around. Is like I get the J.K. Rowlingness of it all makes sense, but I thought the game was quite good otherwise. As
Oh, okay, because
people-
the reason why I say it like that is because I know that people who have played it got like you know the streamers and stuff actually who played it got like death threats to them, and I'm like, wow,
Oh.
that's fucking extreme. So
Oh.
that's why I'm saying
That's
just
good
play
as well.
just play Death Stranding. Yeah,
Sorry, Pat, you're muted. So, Pat, what's the code?
Yeah, I quite like the game myself. And the people that receive death threats, what's the point? Like,
no.
Oh
I
wait,
mean, like,
are you asking the streamers what's the point of them?
no. I'm asking what's the point in threatening people for what they
Oh,
play?
okay.
Like,
no,
thought-
'cause
I understand.
see-
I understand the point that people don't like the person who I won't name.
Hogwarts Legacy.
But-
What's the
At the end of the day, it's up to the person what they play.
To be fair,
Like-
though, it is a bit more than just not liking her. Like, she is a dangerous Nazi.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy for that to go on record.
Yeah, and that's fine. But I still don't agree with giving people shit for playing it. Like, you're free to play
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
It-
put the shit towards Warner Brothers.
I can't stand the woman, but I still like the universe she's involved with. Well, she's responsible for making. So it's a catch-22. Like I think there's room to enjoy the Potterverse and hate the woman. Like, you look at all the young actors from it; they all fucking hate her.
That's so interesting because I have a film for my next year that wants to see if like author and product, if you can separate
Oh.
the two enough.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
This sounds like a film that Rob has been avoiding picking because the director is a nonce.
There's multiple
Yeah,
films like that that I've been
the
avoiding.
original creators.
Same.
That's the reason why I didn't want to pick it. But
I mean, it's like in wrestling terms, probably to a lesser extent. Well, I don't know. It depends on where you stand with it. I was a big fan of Chris Benoit, but obviously what he did to his family, which not necessarily he was in full control of after all the tests and stuff were done. Like, he's a piece of shit. Like, he killed his wife and his son and then killed himself. But I always look back at old matches and I'm like, man, this guy was great. But you can also hate the person. That's basically where I'm getting to.
The thing for me is that some of my favourite films are by Woody Allen and Roman Polanski. And the problem is that because they've written and directed them, there's an element of like connecting with them when you're watching those films. And because of the subject matter of those films, it feels a bit weird to connect with people who've done the things that they've done on that level. And so it doesn't sit easy with me that I'm connecting to them in that way. And but that's different to the Harry Potter stuff as well, because the problem with the Harry Potter stuff is because Harry Potter's so popular, J.K. Rowling gets a platform from it, and she uses her platform to
Spread hate.
target people who are already targeted anyway. So
Mhm.
I'm certain that there are deaths that she's responsible for because people are attacking these people that she's sending people towards. And I could never support something that she's involved with for that reason.
That's understandable. But that's a choice that you're making on your sort of moral standpoint. But the bit that I sort of don't agree with is then people going onto other people's streams and giving them death threats, upsetting people needlessly because of something that they enjoy. And they may not even care about J.K. Rowling.
But whether you care about her or
get
not,
there's
you're
more
still
to it than that.
providing the platform.
Yeah, which would no, because maybe these people were like playing the game because they said, "Oh, I know what Harry Potter is, and this is a new game. might as well just try it out. They didn't know anything about the politics or like with the author and stuff, and it's like, oh shit, I guess I can't stream anymore because I've been cancelled like 3 times over, and it's just like, and that shit's just like, people will like try and enjoy something because they thought the IP and stuff was enjoyable, but of course, unfortunately, they can't because like, fucking, well, Jesus Christ, you know, I don't want to play Harry Potter, and suddenly
Well-
people are trying to like dox me. That shit's just like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that stuff. I mean, I don't particularly want to see that, but for some people, it is a matter of life and death. Like it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Just you have all that because there was a character called Potter.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Do you
let's
know
talk about-
this actual character, before they really went deep into his character, I was like, he reminds me of Churchill.
Yeah, you probably
And then he turned out the way he was. I was like, this guy's fucking Churchill's brother.
He does strike me as the type of person to not like that Indian people are fishing in their own seas and then outlaws them from fishing in their own seas.
Yeah.
That's something Churchill did.
I know.
From one
Are you
evil
are you
person to
giving our
another.
viewers a history lesson now? Because they don't teach history properly in this country.
Oh man. So I saw your face through that, Alec. Which is probably that whole discussion.
Film and you think people will talk about it, and then they just talk about everything. But we're going to talk about Simon's Dragon Ball Z jumper. We're going to talk about Harry
Well, you
Potter.
say that, but someone's
That's
changed the call to Simon's Dragon Ball Z jumper. So
That's
what
what
do you
we're
expect?
fucking talking about.
Yeah, I mean, next thing you know, we're talking about how the Gremlins are coming.
To be
So
fair, it is a beautiful jumper.
That's great as well. And just in terms of scene, it might be too early to get onto scenes we really like. But some things I really like. I wanted to say the scene where the kind of drunken uncle, whatever, goes out and it sounds like he.
Excuse me, the term is drunkle.
Okay then. It sounds like he's crashed into some garbage cans. And I love how the fact that he improvised was just like, I'm all right, I'm okay. It's just someone dropping stuff, some props. And then he got $10 extra for improving the sound and design. I just accidentally, it's like, oh, yeah, let's keep that in the film. It like stuff like that happen. I like how the main lady, like Mary, who I think this was her first starring role, her first proper role. Like she used to play baseball, which I don't think would have been that common at the time anyway. A lot of obviously misogyny and lots of things of the time. And they're just like, yeah, we need to get a marksman when she throws because we don't think she's going to be able to hit the window. and then she hits the window first try, just spot on. And it's just like, oh, whoa, nice. It's just like, yeah, she proved you. And I mean, obviously, you probably would have had quite a lot of that kind of stuff, especially obviously after the war, and which is nice. But then, yeah, there's just lots of little things during this production I think were great. Even like how when he, partly because of him struggling with PTSD and other things, like how he broke down crying in the bar scene when he was praying, and he was just like, you know what, nah, this emotion is really good. I'm gonna like zoom in, blow this up. And like it might look a little bit grainy, but it's going to be great for the film. Or how the lady, because the lady says $17.50. It was meant to be $17, but they said, just say an odd number. And then she said what she said. and the guy like James Stewart is honestly like, oh, great, and he loved it. Is he kind of kissed her and whatnot. And it's just like there's a lot of little things in the film that weren't completely planned or scripted, but they just worked really well, and they had a lot of great talent on it, and yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, there's like a couple of like weird production-y bits where I think they only stand out because everything else is so good. Like, there's a couple of edits that are like a bit weird where like it will seem like the camera angle changes at the like the slightest wrong time because it sort of cuts off what somebody's saying, like little things like that. But there was one thing that really made me laugh, and it's where the chandelier's shaking to like imply that somebody's upstairs is like making the ceiling move. But the way that it moves, it looks like it's just on the end of a fishing rod. It's just like...
Nice.
To be fair, actually, I was going to point out one interesting thing about this film is that it did pioneer a lot of future movie making special effects. For example, like the zoom lens. And there's this one scene where George just runs out the old house and you get this amazing close up of his face. Steven Spielberg, among many, like I think Scorsese as well, and David Fincher have referenced that close-up shot in the past before because of how there hasn't been one that's done something like that where he's just walked into frame where it's just he's been perfectly in focus with his face like right up to the camera, and it was so like iconic and never been seen before. I think some of the movie making in it, even if it is dated, there was some parts that are just kind of like this is what's got the attention of filmmakers of that era. And therefore, ones who watched this growing up, like Spielberg, and it just kind of like put the stamp on Hollywood of how to make a very visually interesting movie that kind of like set the bar and set the rules to everything that would follow it. So it's very impactful in that regard.
Yeah, you know the one where it's just like a close up on James Stewart's face and he's sort of like for a second he looks directly into the camera like that's you see that in quite a lot of Spike Lee films.
Yes, but I'm sure he's referenced it 100%. Yeah, it just I think black and white just makes certain shots just look really good and really crisp and very striking as well.
Yeah, I don't know why they ever colorized it.
Yeah.
Well, I do, but I don't think they should have.
I think this was like the first thing to have like a safe snow as well, like safe fake snow.
The first one not to use asbestos.
Or cornflakes.
Hey, cornflakes are
Sorry,
safe.
what?
The snow is like a bit shit, but
cornflakes was a common alternative at the time for fake snow. But
Name me a movie that has cornflakes for snow.
Before this point, I don't know films in the 1940s. I'm sorry.
Damn it. Okay,
Go search them up.
Unfortunately for asbestos, I feel like it's in all the films from like even till about Wizards of Oz used asbestos in like as like pollen or snow, right? Yeah, but that was like
even the
all the films. I never heard of cornflakes. That's really a first for me. It's like cornflakes. I'm like,
yeah, here you go. RKO's head of special effects developed a new compound using water, soap flakes, foamite, and sugar to create chemical snow for the film. Before then, movie snow was usually made from untoasted cornflakes, which were so loud when stepped on that dialogue had to be redubbed afterwards.
really weird. Okay, that's we knew every day.
The predecessor for Christopher Nolan was cornflakes.
Yep.
Some tasty cornflakes all over the set.
Definitely tell with the snow though, because like it definitely when he goes to save Clarence from the water, like that snow doesn't look great. It's very like sort of sticky on him.
In general, I like how the director cared about the safety for a lot of people on the set. There was only one thing that made me really sad, but I didn't know it was actually real until just now. But when the kid got slapped when his ear was bleeding, so that was another thing that wasn't completely planned because the guy was really drunk. He was actually drunk, and he was slapping him for real. And when you saw his ear bleeding, that was for real,
Oh, wow.
unfortunately. After the shot, and after he realized what he did like hug him and comfort him. But yeah, that did actually really happen. And yeah, again, it wasn't planned. And
That's mad.
yeah, because I remember thinking, oh, that's really sad. Like, I know he can't hear out that ear, but for him to slap him like that on that ear because of like, he's not really himself. It's this really sad shot. But the fact that actually really happens, it's like, oh crap, I feel for that kid.
Yeah, that is mad.
Such an effective scene as well because, like, sorry, I cried during like 2 scenes of this film, and it's that one and the end scene. That's really tough to know that he was drunk for that and actually hit him. But I do think that's like a really effective. That's probably actually one of my favorite scenes actually, despite with the child abuse
Be careful.
The hitting of a child. That's very unfortunate. But I think that scene's like really effective. Like the actor for Mr. Gower, realizing that he very nearly killed. He might have killed someone, and hugging George, and George like just being like just so understanding of him and promising not to tell anyone. Like, I think you can just see it was a complete accident, and like, yeah, just you just kind of see him crumble a bit, and I think it's a really, really powerful bit of acting there.
Mm.
Do we have any more favourite scenes?
That is definitely probably one of mine. I think the boy that played young George is so like a standout. He's just
Thanks for not saying George.
Yeah, he's just as good. It's as amazing as Jimmy Stewart in a lot of ways. He's just like the intensity and the for someone obviously his age doing a performance like that was just like it struck me every time I see it how good he is. So yeah, any of the flashbacks are just fantastic for him alone. And what Alex said about the whole thing in the shop just is so touching and so heartbreaking for the fact that he's just honestly he's just trying his best despite the consequences that might befall him. So straight away, you know that this guy is such a pure soul. So later in the film, I suppose, I mean, there's loads. There's like the scene where he meets Mary, and they just and the scene where they're outside the old house and they're just throwing things at the windows. I just love that. And even the bit where she loses her bathrobe and she gets trapped behind the bush. That's just so funny, and so wholesome at the same time. But just the way that the scene goes and is constructed is just great. And obviously, when Clarence comes into the picture in the real world, and he shows George the alternatives of what his life would be, and everything from then on is just so interesting. And the bar moment, the scenes in the bar. So yeah, I mean, pick your poison. There's loads. Those are great moments.
I absolutely adore the guy who's working on the bridge. Every time Clarence says something, and he just goes like he goes to like just spit into the bucket, and he's like,
It's like, what?
That slays me every
I'm
single
going to get
time.
my wings. It's like, what? He has to do a double take every
It's also
5
where I come from too. Where's that? Heaven? The fuck are you?
There was when we were watching it, there was a really funny moment because like when he sort of falls down into the river, my mum looked over at me and she went, "That's the angel," and I was like, "Yeah." And then that scene happened with the guy on the bridge, and she was like, "See, it's the angel."
That's great. Oh yes, sorry, Alec. None of them were my actual favorite scenes. They were just like honorable mentions.
Well, la dee da.
Yeah, Amanda has my favourite scenes. He hates them.
Those are my favourite scenes. They were my least favourite scenes.
I think my two favorite scenes coming in at second is probably the ending scene. Because it is one of those things. It's just like, well, it's a testament to all your effort, all the things you've done. The community is coming back out to help you. Like, yeah. And the first kind of my first favorite scene is a test to just how good and smart he is, and also how like I can't think of the word, but when someone can take what little resources they have to really do great things.
Resourceful.
Yeah, resourceful. And so it's the first part. You have the guy say to Potter, "Hey, that guy, you're gonna realize one day, he's not just, some other guy. He's gonna end up putting you out of business one day." And then he actually invites him, and it's just like, "Hey, I know we've hated each other, but nothing but a thorn in my side. But even I can recognize that you're good. I want to hire you seriously, and I'll pay you a proper wage, like a proper wage. Like you will not want for anything. That yes, Potter is a terrible guy, but this guy who's up there and like he does not care about anyone down below, probably like a JP Morgan or something type character. He really does not care about the little people, but this guy, he's just like, this is how much of an impact George has done. This is how much he's done with his family, his father's legacy, family's legacy, and what he's managed to do in this little town. Yet he's able to make that much of an impression. This guy's just like, you know what? I actually feel threatened and actually recognize what you've done. I want to hire you. Like whatever we think of that, or George thinks of that, et cetera, and the ethical side of it, it just shows how good he was. And I thought that was cool. I wasn't expecting that either. I think when he said it was the first time, it was the only time in the film I audibly I was just like, when you like cough or something, it's like when you spit your drink out or something like that. I had one of those moments when he said, I'll play your job." I was like, I was just like, "Oh, let me wipe my mouth." It's just like I wasn't expecting that. Oh, okay, but yeah, that's man. You really have done well for this guy to reach out a hand and be like, "Hey, it worked for me." Yeah, those are my favorite scenes.
I think that's such a good tell as well, where like he's going like he's really trying to butter George up, and he's like he's really laying it on thick, and he's going like, "Oh, I'll give you all this money, and you're really great. You're very smart boy. Yeah." And then as soon as George goes like, "Hang on a fucking minute," Like his like instant reaction is just that anger. It's just like, why the fuck are you? What is your problem? Are you fucking stupid? I've just given you. I've just offered to give you all this money. George is like, I don't trust this. He's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, I think it's such a funny. Because Potter's that easy, obviously. Like you could just offer them that, and he'd be like, yeah, he'd go for that. But well, like this works with other people. Why isn't it working with you?
Mm.
Yeah, I really like that.
I don't have as much integrity as George. If that's me, I would have probably taken the offer. So my wife probably wouldn't have liked it. I would have been like, it's only temporary. Until we get to a much better situation. I'm tired of struggling. I can't do this no more.
But I think that's what like puts George. I think that's what makes George so remarkable as a character. He's so real, and he struggles, and
Yeah.
he doesn't do it all like he doesn't do it all without blinking. He really has trouble at times, but a lot of people like that. It wouldn't be normal for someone to put other people first as much as he does. But that's what makes him so remarkable.
Yeah, both him and his wife. Like
Yeah.
many people have said, like if it like, oh yeah, someone who had a really bad take has said, oh yeah, he settled for Mary. I was like, did you watch the freaking film? He didn't settle for no one. If he was going to settle, he would have ended up with Violetta.
He settled for the fucking prettiest woman.
Like there was no settling. He almost actually screwed up his own chance that was shoving itself in his face, giving it to him on a silver freaking platter.
I absolutely love that scene where he's describing what they're gonna do, and like it's his most romantic date, and he's describing like it's all like stuff where we're gonna be we're gonna get really in touch with like the planet, and we're just gonna appreciate like just natural beauty, and we're gonna go for a walk, and we're gonna watch a waterfall, and we're gonna do this and that. And she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" We're going.
Yeah, that stuff.
I thought you were gonna take me out for a night on the town, and it's like, yeah, these two are just not. These people are not compatible.
Yeah, and that's something Mary would have loved. That's they really do suit each other.
Yeah.
It's just water.
Sorry, carry on.
Fucking settled for Mary, Jesus Christ. Where are you reading these takes?
It was on Reddit. Someone was
There you go.
quoting some
Those-
New York Times kind of, I say quoting, they were commenting on the back of a New York Times review, saying this. I don't know when this New York Times review was written. It was probably closer to the time the film had originally come out, but it was a scathingly depressing review. Like, he just cussed it so much. He was like, actually, let me see if I can read some of this just to give an example of like how much I was just like, nah, they really missed so much of what this film was. So,
Simon's article.
huh?
Find Simon's article.
Yeah, I'll send it to you afterwards, like in the chat. Basically, say it's a wonderful life. This is from NY Times. Is a terrifyingly asphyxiating story about growing up and relinquishing your dreams, of seeing your father driven to the grave before his time, of living among bitter, small-minded people. It is a story of being trapped, of compromising and watching others move ahead or away. and becoming so filled with rage, you verbally abuse your children, the teacher, and your oppressively perfect wife. That's just part of it. I'm not gonna. This is a long review.
What a fuck.
Yeah, that's what I said.
We
No,
know, we know, Simon. We know that's what you said.
thank you for reading my quote, Emmanuel.
And the person who was commenting on it was just like, this is a bleak, thoroughly depressing, tragic story of a man who never made it to Europe, settled for the neighborhood girl whose ambition, life's desires, hopes, and dreams were systematically denied him by the boring, small-minded, and undeserving people around him. George chooses their happiness over his own time and time again, to the point where the only escape from the hideous failure of his life is suicide. I was like, you know what? These people.
Oh, that's from my alt account.
Simon,
What the fuck
we
do
know.
you that's okay. That's everything that you just quoted, Emmanuel. It's too much.
Exactly.
But then again, this is Reddit.
That's
Right,
that's such
guys,
a
I'm
like.
gonna head off.
See you in a bit,
Oh.
man.
Take
Take care,
care,
Pat.
man.
Thanks for
See you
coming in.
later.
Good night.
Thank you,
See you,
Trevor.
dudes.
Good
Take
night.
care.
Till tomorrow.
Good night.
Yeah, no, I think that's such like a surface level read of the film because like the whole thing about not going to Europe and all of that kind of stuff. Like I feel like a lot of the point of it is that the thing that gives your life meaning is the people around you rather than where you are and what you're doing.
So yeah, you're not fooling anybody, Simon.
But yeah, if you're
Wink.
interested, like you can read through it. I mean, I didn't read through every single. I read the rest of it, but yeah, it just gets worse. I say
That's-
worse. It's just more.
That is an article worth skimming. Now, I know he's right here, but
Oh man, further emasculated. Man, like these for people who barely deserve this help. That's like, it's like, yeah, I'm done reading this. They really missed the whole point. Yeah, if people like this is how if this is not everyone felt like this, of course. But if this is how some people were writing,
insane.
yeah. But if this was how some people were thinking about this film, I mean, remember, two of the writers thought it was horrid, so bad they did not want to watch it. They thought it was really a really horrible film. They did not want to put themselves through it.
So weird.
And the thing is, the film didn't actually take that long to shoot. It only took about like 90 days. So it wasn't like, I guess, yeah, so 3 months. It wasn't like it was a crazy long kind of shoot where it dragged on for a really long time. It was problematic and they just had like trauma associated with filming it. No, they genuinely thought it was horrible and didn't want to watch it.
If you need an argument for death of the author, there it is.
I mean, at least it seemed like most of the people who acted in it had a good time or liked it. Yeah, it might have been pretty much a heat wave during a lot of the film. It was summer during most of the film. But he did do things like give them a break. When it was really hot days, he was just like, look, have a break off of filming to just recoup for a day because you've just been through it and it's a really hot day. So he looked after people like, anyway.
Oh.
Sorry, I brought it heavy.
You're all right. Yeah, he has these opinions sometimes, and you just gotta kind of let him just. We love you, Simon.
Yeah, fucking. It was Emmanuel sending the hearts. It just broke me. I was like, okay, yeah, sure.
It's okay. You don't have to be right about every film.
Would it be weird to say that if you remove the Christmas themes from this film, like that are throughout it, would it have been a better film? Because
As in,
I
like,
feel
if
like
you took away the angel and stuff.
not the angel, just the Christmas parts of it. Like, did it have to be on Christmas or around Christmas?
To be fair, I think the only bit that's Christmassy is them singing Auld Lang Syne. Like everything else is kind of, it's sort of applicable at any time. I think that's what I feel it is.
So, well, the reason why I ask is because if this film did okay at the box office and its stuff got renewed better, and like, you know, its copyright didn't like expired, so it was played every year for free for on like basic cable and everything, and as not as many people watched it, would it have been as popular as it is now? If you understand what I mean.
Oh, so like, as in, if it wasn't a Christmas film, would it have,
Yes.
would it still be around now, kind of thing?
Kind of, yeah. Or would it have been like one of those ones that kind of like floated off into like people's memories?
Yeah. I think it would have, to be fair, because like I think it's like well, it's like what we were saying earlier. Like I don't think it's a Christmas film in the sense that it's all about Christmas. It's more of a Christmas film in the vibe that it gives off. Like I think all of like the Christmas elements of it are like specifically Christmassy. It's just kind of like superficial stuff. But I think the thing that makes it like such a classic Christmas film is that it's so like it's kind of all the things that Christmas is supposed to be about, isn't it? Like it's sort of kindness and coming together and all of that kind of stuff. So I think even if you didn't have the specifically Christmassy parts of it, it probably still would be a classic Christmas film.
I think it being Christmas really helps it though, because like I think it's there for like contrast of this is supposed to be a happy time and George has never been lower.
Mm.
And it's like,
which is quite relatable.
Yeah, that's really relatable. Like, yeah, people go through a lot of pressure at Christmas, and like, yeah, I can. Yeah, I don't think George is George is not the first person to fucking freak out because he's not providing. Well, yeah, he's not the only person who's like been in trouble.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, it's kind of applicable to any big event, really. Like, it's kind of not a universal experience, but it's something that everyone can relate to at Christmas because Christmas just brings so many pressures with it. But I think any kind of like massive event that you're going through in your life that's supposed to be a happy time, I think it applies to.
Fair enough.
I would just like to take this opportunity to thank Rob for the Christmas gift that we give each other every year.
A hard time?
Oh. No, we don't actually buy each other gifts. It's the gift of no burden for gifts.
It's the gift.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
A year I go, oh fuck, I've got to buy a gift for this person and this person and this person. And what about Rob? Oh, I haven't got to get anything for Rob because he's not going to get me anything. It's just such a relief. No offense, Ben. That gift, I've got to get you something fucking good. I need to find something befitting of this amazing stamp.
Yeah, show something.
When I opened it, I was like, a stamp. And then I looked at the front, at the top.
Oh, that's awesome!
But I was like, holy shit, it's the Blues Brothers. And then I was like, holy shit, it's us.
As soon as I saw
Oh yeah, holy shit, it is you guys. Fuck. Oh, I just wanted Blues Brothers. Fuck. Oh yeah. That's doubly amazing. Shit. Fuck.
it didn't have the stupid nickname on the front, so I was like, oh, this can't be Ben. And then I opened it up and I just saw the top of it and I went, that's a Ben. That's a fucking Ben. That went above and beyond. So I do appreciate the gift. I don't want you to think I don't, but I also appreciate that Rob doesn't Like, you know.
I feel like whatever I give to everyone now is gonna pale in comparison. Fuck.
But I appreciate Rob giving me the gift of like mutual laziness. That's really cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, mutual laziness. That's the phrase. That's the word you're looking for. Yeah. I 100% get that. It's like, do I have to get you a gift? Do you want me to? No. Yeah. Then no. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Are you
Choice
getting me one? No.
sick shirt, a stamp, or laziness.
I got you. I'll tell. I guess I can tell you what the item is. I got everyone mugs.
Oh, you should show them if you got them, man. They're really cool.
All right, give me a quick minute.
They're very, very cool.
Are they Dragon Ball Z related?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, they are now, in a way, from a certain point of view.
don't you do an impression of my namesake?
All right.
We're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and this kid didn't know who I was talking about. And I went, yeah, Alec Guinness, you know, I knew your father. He went, you do an impression of him? And I was like, I just did. He went, no, the other one. And I went, oh, hello there.
So first, you would go, this is a very nice cup of tea. I go, but then afterwards you go,
Fuck, man.
Perfect.
That's brilliant.
so I've got well, not everyone in the call currently, obviously, but like, yeah, I've got everyone's like face.
I'm really glad Pat left because I've got everyone in the call now.
No, I've got everyone who's not currently in the call as well. Wait, no, that doesn't sound right. That's my English wrong. Damn it! I got everyone. I got everyone's face on a cup or a mug. I got everyone's mug on a mug. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
I've got
Fuck.
everyone's mug on a face.
I
Hang
went
on.
to say knobhead, but I said nothing instead.
Wait, let's see. Oh wait, yeah, let's grab. Let's see. No, actually, no. You guys will see it when you get it eventually. Yeah. But yeah, that was me, obviously. All right, you guys see everyone. Because we are seeing each other on the 28th, yeah?
That was like
Allegedly.
28th.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
I
You
haven't
did
got-
the face.
I haven't got my shades on me.
Wait,
Oh, I
does
don't know
one
what
have two mugs? Does one have the sunglasses on it?
I actually asked him about it, right? Essentially, it's like, can you put something on the bottom? I was like, we could, but it's come a bit late notice. I was like, fuck, because what I wanted it to be my face. When you drink it, it's my face again, but with the sunglasses. So that's what I wanted. But I was like, but there was like, I mean, it's not like impossible to do, but it's going to take some time. I was like, fuck, I don't have enough time. Fuck it. It's like, all right.
I don't have the time.
I think I should just get, maybe I should get another mug that's just my face with sunglasses. Yeah, okay.
You should get
Okay.
a mug where the bottom is just like this part of your face. So when you drink, it's just.
That's what I'm thinking.
That could work. Okay.
Well done. I'm so bad at gifts.
I mean, like it was definitely something I saw beforehand. I was like, that seems really interesting, but I don't know who I would get that for. Then afterwards, saw pictures of me and everyone else when Rob makes them, and it's like, oh, actually, I know exactly who to get that for. So it's one of those things that were like a few years in the making, I guess. So, but like, yeah, it's great.
I can't wait to use it. I can't wait to use it at work. So people go, "Why are you on your own cup?" And then I can go, "Well, I've got this film club, you see."
Oh, my whole team know about you guys.
That's nice.
You say nice, however.
Well, I mean, like, do they watch?
Well, they do now.
I don't think they would.
Yeah, probably.
They just kind of let me talk about it because I'm interested in talking about it, and they're very sweet about it. There's a lot. This is like, wow, this Pat guy knows what he's talking about. And I'm like,
That was a loaded syllable.
Right. Have we got anything else we want to say about It's a Wonderful Life / Simon's Dragon Ball Z Jumper?
It's good.
Oh, no. We're just talking about It's a Wonderful Life then. Go on, just say that. Say it again.
It's good.
Thanks.
You had a run up on that one.
The George Bailey moment.
It's good, you see.
Why, it's good.
My money's at Rob's house and Alex's house and John's house.
It was at your house.
Yeah, maybe I feel like it might have just been his voice that kind of seemed a bit overly dramatic.
Next year, well, not in a year's time, but at some point next year, I'm going to pick Harvey, and we'll see if it's a problem with James Stewart. Yeah, because if you have a problem with James Stewart imagining a big rabbit, then I can't help you.
If anyone has a problem with James Stewart, you have a problem with me. Yeah, it's not that big. Right, I have a problem with everyone every week. So.
Next is award show, yeah.
Ready for some awards.
Right, yeah. Just gotta remember to I mean, like, resend that link, and I'll probably get it to you by Wednesday or on Wednesday, I guess.
I'll send it to you in a separate so that you've got it.
All right.
I just wanted to say that for worst film nominations, Bram Stoker's Dracula just missed out. One of my 3 worst films.
To be fair, that would be unprecedented if it won worst film and also got the honorary Hall of Fame.
Well, what's on his worst film?
Oh, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
It just missed. No, it just missed out. It was my 3rd worst film, but got beaten out by something else.
Well, technically, you can still vote for it if it's 3 votes per.
No, we can't.
No,
I don't want it to be.
It's my 4th worst.
Oh, it's
film.
the 4th one. Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. So yeah, it just missed out. So I thought I'd just mention.
Shocking.
It's been a rough week for Alan.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've been sweating absolute bullets, and I've just been like, oh, I know Simon's gonna fucking just tank me. Just shit.
Oh well, no, I
got past Pat, but I'm never getting past both of them. Right, here we go. Let's do it.
There's a certain film by a certain person that only popped up once during this year that kind of want to vote for. Don't know where that will go, but I think it's going to get somewhere with my top 3, obviously.
I got Pat voting my film worst film 3 times.
Wait, you're not allowed to do that, are you?
Well, you're allowed to do it. It's just how many times it counts is the contention.
Oh wait, yeah, you're always, yeah, because you're the one doing the points, obviously. Yeah, okay,
Because I mean, if you want to do it as like a statement, that's fine. But I'll only count one for fairness.
Like that theory, just I'm like, I'm gonna absolutely demolish this, and it's like, oh no, we're only counting 1.
Yeah, but like that's still 5 points.
Oh, it's 3 points.
Well, I thought like if it's your number 1 spot is 5, then second spot's 3, and third spot's 1, isn't it?
5, 3, 2.
Oh, 5, 3, 2. Sorry,
so it adds up to 10.
Okay. Oh, right. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So,
Anyway, thank you for. Oh shit! I need to vote the People's Choice Awards. I didn't even think that.
I guess it's good to say Christmas Eve. I was about to say Happy Christmas Eve's Eve, but it's past 12 o'clock. So Happy Christmas
It's
Eve.
Christmas Eve.
And
Cheers.
I am
Should I
finish this.
I just thought, should I just piss Pat off and give the People's Award to Don John?
Oh, that'd be the ultimate evil move. I'm for it.
No, I'm not for it. That's one of my picks for worse, actually.
Oh, shit.
Emmanuel, you're fucking bald.
Anyways, I think I'll end that call. I'll end it here for me for tonight. I've got to go. I think I've got someone who's trying to call me from abroad to wish me Merry Christmas.
Oh,
All
yeah,
right,
Merry
take care,
Christmas,
guys.
Speak to you next week.
Good
Bye.
to see you.
soon.
See ya. Bye.
Stop.
Mm.
I need to talk
Goodbye,
through.
mate, if you're going.
See you in a bit, Lid.
Stay for a bit.
Oh, right, okay.
We might as well stay for 5 minutes.
I
I
need
was
to
gonna
talk through.
say a joke. Wife said, "Happy Adam is Adam's Day." This is like, why? Because tomorrow is Eve.
Oh.
I was just like, oh, man. That's a dad joke.
I think it's like a Christian joke.